Hi everyone, this is Kasia Zmokla from Digital Art Classes. Welcome to my channel where you will find always photo editing training and educational videos to help you grow as an artist and photographer. And today we will be working in Capture One. I will answer quite a common question. I'm getting this question asked over and over, and people ask me, how do you shift color in Capture One? How can you perform a dramatic color shift in Capture One? We all know that Capture One is famous for its color editor, but how do you go about really dramatic color shift? So this we will target in the following video. So we will start with this image, and in this clip I will show you how in a very simple way you can go from this blue to something like this. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so let's take a look at our image. I'm going to bring the browser back and let's create new clone variant, and on this one I'm going to switch off. I'm going to delete color and blue. So let's begin. Here we have the photo where most of the colors are quite harmonious. We have here the analog use colors, but then we have this blue shirt. So this creates very strong contrast, strong color contrast with those skin colors, with those skin tones and the yellow pattern in the background. And if I wanted to focus on the shirt, everything would be okay. Or if I wanted to go for black and white, but I want to focus on the face, I want to fine-tune this portrait further, and this blue is really completely off the color palette that I want to work with. So how do we go about the blue? So first of all, let's just switch over to the color tab, and here I'm going to actually create new field adjustment layer, and on this layer I will target the color separately, so then we can easily switch it on and off. So let's just rename this layer to blue so it will be clear what we are doing here. So we can go and select our color editor and we will go for the advanced. If you would like to do this with the basic, you can get your color picker, you can sample the color, and then you can work with hue. So you can see that you can shift to the purples, or if you go the other way around, you will go for the cyans, but this is nothing near to the golden color that we want to go for. So let's just reset this tool and let's proceed further to the advanced color editor. So here we can try the same. I have the color picker selected, and let's just select the color that we want to change. So just to make it clear, I want to shift the blue all the way inside the color wheel. So if I sample the color, let's maybe pull our color editor tool out. We can switch off other tools. So this is our color wheel, and we are now here. We are inside the range of blues, and I want to switch this color. I want to shift it all the way to the opposite side of the color wheel. And let's see how the advanced color editor will work with this. So first of all, I want to switch this icon on. So after picking the color, I want to click on the second icon, and that way I will make sure that the whole saturation range of the blue color inside the image will be targeted. If you want to see what color is selected, what is our color range, we can just tick this little icon on. And that way we have this very helpful preview of the selected color range. So you can see that the blues are mainly inside the t-shirt. We have some of the blues reflected here in the eye and some on those highlights on the plant. Okay, so let's just get back to the image. Let's switch off our preview. So let's approach it the same as in case of the basic color editor. So to switch, to shift the color, we have to be working with the hue slider. Let's see what happens. If I push the hue slider towards the right hand side, I am getting exactly the same effect as in the basic tab. So I just moved from here, from the blues towards the magentas, not even magentas, something maybe around here. And if I go, sorry, not smoothness, hue, if I go all the way to the left hand side, my scale has finished, I can't push it further, and I have reached just the cyans. So how can you approach this? How can you shift color not inside this range? So by default, the hue slider in Capture One can only shift the color 30 degrees on the color wheel. So this covers here from the cyans somewhere around towards here, towards the magentas. And we want to shift the color all the way towards those golden shades. So how can we do this? Let's just reset this tool and let's see how to very quickly fix this. So again, I'm going for the color picker. I'm sampling on the color that I want to change. Next, let's just click on the second icon. So that way I'm making sure that the whole saturation level of the blue is included. Now, it doesn't really matter if I go through the magentas or through the greens. I just need to keep pushing the hue slider. So we can use this little hack to push our color further, to shift it entirely. So I have reached the magenta, so it shows that I'm going from here. This little point here reflects the sampled area, so I have moved somewhere around here, and I want to continue going upwards towards those yellows. So what I can do next? So I'm sampling again, and again I'm just repeating the same steps, clicking on the second icon and pushing the hue slider in the same direction. So if you would push it towards the left, you would basically go back to the square one, to your starting point. So we want to keep pushing the slider all the time towards the right hand side. So this is basically a hidden functionality in Capture One, and that way you can push the color towards the value that you want. So I have sampled again, I have to repeat those steps again. So I'm pushing it further, and let's sample again. Here I will be including all the saturation levels, so I have clicked on the second icon. Let's push it again. I want to go even further, so I'm clicking again. And you can see that this is quite confusing because these color samples, they are not really reflecting the color that I have sampled. They are showing the blue, and I'm already somewhere here in the reds. But don't worry, it doesn't affect the final result. That's how it's constructed for the moment. So I have sampled, I want to include the whole saturation range, and then I want to push my hue further. So I have reached the place when I'm quite near to those yellows, but let's just go one step further. I'm sampling again, including the whole saturation range of the color, and here I want to push hue even further. So I went a little bit too far. I want to move back, and then I can fine-tune the color. If you would have more samples, you can always increase size of this panel. So we have reached this color, and as I've said at the very beginning, I want to focus, in case of this portrait, on the skin tones. I can fine-tune the skin tones further. So for the moment the color is way too saturated, it is attracting the viewer's attention, so I want to push back saturation. So this is the color that I got in the end, and I can go even further, but I don't think that this will hold the image together. So I want to have the color. That was the whole idea behind this exercise. So let's go for something like this. I want the shirt and the background, those patterns, to be as consistent as possible. So let's maybe increase saturation a bit, and let's see if we go for lower lightness. No, I think it's not helpful. So that way you can create a dramatic color shift in Capture One. So if we hit Y, this is the image that we have started with, and in a super precise, super controlled way, we have shifted the color towards the one that is matching those patterns in the background. So let's get back to our tools. I'm just going to push the color editor back. Let's go back to the exposure tab, and here if we switch on and off this layer, again you will see this is the image before creating the color shift, and this is the image after. I'm just going to go one step further and sort of unify the color palette in this image. This can be done in a very, very fast and simple way. So once we are on color, this is my really favorite subject. I love working on color in Capture One. So let me just show you how you can now add a little bit more richness to those colors, how you can fine-tune them in a few simple steps with color balance tool. So I'm going to quickly add new field adjustment layer, and let's quickly rename this layer to color. So let's jump over to the color tab, and here we will be working now with color balance tool. So let's just pull it out and let's focus on shadow, midtone and highlight. So the master tab, if we would apply anything here, this would create a color cast over the whole image. The image is already monochromatic, it is quite flat, so there is no need to apply color cast. I want to in fact create some of depth in the image by introducing a little bit of color contrast. So our basic color that we have in the image are those brownish tones, those skin tones, those beiges, a little bit of the pink over the nails. So I'm going to jump over to the shadows, and that way I want to inject in the shadow area a little bit of cool blue tone. So remember, we are not going to make the shadows blue. I will be working in a very subtle way. This is the crucial word here, subtlety. So I will inject a little bit of complementary color, so that way we will add more depth to the image, and this will be achieved by creating a color contrast. So if we look at the image right now, most of the tones are around here. So we have the oranges, we have the yellows. So to create a color contrast, we want to inject in the shadows the color that is opposite on our color wheel. So this will be somewhere here, and let's just inject a little bit of the blue. So this is actually cooling down the image quite strongly. I want to go for a little bit more stylized look, and I will in fact add a little bit more of the magentas rather than the blues. So it is very personal, you can approach it the way you like it. I just want to show you that you can work with the color balance tool super quick. The way the tool is constructed allows you to work in a very intuitive way. So let's see the image before and after. This is before adding the magentish bluish tint inside the shadows. Let's now jump to the midtones, and here I want to maintain this very rich golden, nice saturated look, so we can go even further. So the slider to the left controls saturation of the color. If I go upwards, I will be adding more saturation. So this is too yellow, I want to go a bit more towards those orangey tones. And now I can fine-tune this. So this is saturation 0, and now I'm going for stronger saturation. With the slider to the right-hand side, you can control luminosity. So if I would like to make those skin tones more saturated, darker, I can push this slider downwards, and I'm going to actually do this. Let's now jump over to the highlights, and here in the highlights luminosity range, we can increase the color contrast by trying to inject a tiny bit of cool light. So I'm going to actually take this little circle and push it towards the bluish cyan. So I'm going to do this in a very subtle way. I don't want to introduce blue light here. This is not what I'm after at all. Just something that is not visible at the first glance, but adds up to creating the depth in the image. So let's see if we increase the highlights. I think this works quite well as well. And maybe I will decrease saturation because the light is quite cool. And to hold together the image, it has to be harmonious. So something like this would definitely not be beneficial. I think something like that should be fine. So we can now put the color balance tool back. And let's see the result we got just in a few seconds with the color balance tool. So this is before, this is the after. You can see that with this very few touches, you can fine-tune colors, you can unify colors in your image, and you can go for completely new ideas when it comes to color grading. So I would like to show you one more trick. If you go for your browser, I want to just see the image. So I have hit Command B, I have the browser back. So this is my image after my adjustments. All I need to do is to just right click on the image, create clone variant. So that way these two images are identical. And I now want to just experiment a bit. So I will have the second image selected, and let's say I would like to, let's maybe push it like that, so we'll see more of the shadows, and let's try something different. So okay, these two images at this point are identical, so I want to jump back right into my color layer, so which is this one, and let's experiment. Let's go for my color balance tool, which is here, and let's try something different. So in the shadows, let's say I would like to go for more bluish tone. So you can see already that by shifting that color in a very subtle way, we are getting quite a dramatic difference. So this is the image that we have started with, and then we have injected more blue. We can maybe go for master and try to experiment here, try to add more rich color cast. So we can go for those oranges, so they will complement the color that we have injected in the shadow. And we can, of course, go for the highlights, and we can increase the strength of the color. So the light will get colder and the color contrast will get stronger as well. So I would like to encourage you to experiment, to work that way, because it really takes a few seconds and you can create really beautiful, unique results. You don't need to spend hours on this. This tool is really intuitive. You can see that I was talking and I have created the second look, the second style, and very often I'm doing these experiments and the last color grading is the best, is the one that I like the most, because that way we are fine-tuning the initial image that we got after the adjustments. After removing the blue color, we are fine-tuning the color grading. So now we are on this image, we can right click. This is what I'm doing. Very often I have created another clone variant, so I like to see all of them in one row. So with Command key I have clicked on these three images, and then I can experiment further. So being here, I'm here on my color layer, I'm in the color balance tool, and I can do something different. So let's go for the master channel, and maybe we would like to go for some really cold color cast. So this is not affecting the shirt. Let's go maybe for something like this. And when it comes to the shadows, maybe we will go for warm shadows. So let's go do something like this. We can darken the shadows. Let's now move over to the mid-tone and let's just move it around. So I'm experimenting. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I really like all those different results that I'm getting working that way. So I'm not really attached to any of these versions, because I can delete it or I can just fine-tune it. So this is not Photoshop, where if you worked on one look, you don't want to damage it. So here I have all these images, I have all these different looks, and I can experiment. So if I go back to the master, this was not really helpful, this cold color cast. I can go for something more on the magentish way, and if we are in the shadows, this is all about experimenting, about moving those sliders around. And here I would say that the shade, the blue, is just too strong. You can even switch this off and try color grading with the blue, why not? But let's just switch it on, and I want to go for lower saturation on these colors. So let me just quickly move back to color editor, and here I want to go for way lower saturation. So I want to go more for the grays. And for me, this is really helpful to see these three different versions of the image in one row. So I can go forward, I can proceed with the color grading, and I see that I have already this version created. I have something like that, and that way I can do something different. So let's just jump back to our layer, and even like that, when we have desaturated the color, we have added a bit of these warm tones, and maybe I will go for desaturation overall on the whole image. So I can go to the exposure tab and here reduce saturation, and maybe we will go for a little bit more dramatic look. So I'm going to apply a curve here. I'm going to actually use ready preset, so you can go either for contrast, luma, so that way you will be adding contrast without affecting colors. This is very helpful if you are super happy with the colors that you have created and you don't want to change them. And on the contrary, if you would go for contrast on RGB, this will increase saturation in your colors. In case of this image, I don't mind, so I will go for this one, and we have another version of the image. So that's how you create a dramatic color shift in Capture One. So this was our starting point. All the three images are exactly the same. And then with Color Editor, we have removed the blue from the image, and I have shown you how super quick you can create different color versions in Capture One with Color Balance tool. If you like the videos, I would be super happy if you subscribe to my channel and if you enable the notification icon. So this is the little bell, and that way you will make sure that you never miss any of my future videos. Of course, I'm going to be publishing new clips, and if you have anything that is sort of difficult for you, if you have any specific questions on photo editing, it doesn't have to be related strictly to Capture One. You can ask me anything, and if I find that the question can contribute to this channel, if I find the issue interesting, I will for sure answer and I will record a video on this. So if you have anything that is problematic for you in Capture One, I will be super happy to hear from you. You can either contact me directly through email, you can find it on my website, or you can just drop the comment under this video. So we've been talking a bit about color. If you would like to learn more about color, if you would like to learn more about Capture One, if you are looking for a masterclass on Capture One, I have a comprehensive course on Capture One where everything is covered, starting from the initial basic setup and going all the way through the organization, the layout, the editing, anything you want to know. So if you want to master Capture One, check out the course link in the description area. And this was Kasia Zmokla from Digital Art Classes. On this channel, I help you express your unique vision and create impactful images. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon in the next video.